Do we have a high school or?
Yes, Wednesday.
She's down there?
Yeah, they're both here.
Oh, okay. Okay, couldn't
Can't
see her
all the way
from
down.
here
Yeah,
now.
it's a long, long
I was like, I
road.
can't see anything past 2 feet this way.
Yes. Moving on to Section 5, routine business. We have the Board Secretary's report for November of 2024, the Treasurer's report for November of 2024, the receipts and appropriation adjustments for November of 2024, the monthly transfer report from November of '24, the high school activities report for December of '24, the food service management cost performance statement for December of '24, the certified bill list as of January 15th of 2025, approval of the minutes, regular session on December 17th of '24, executive session on December 17th, and the reorg minutes of January the 7th of '25. Ms. Iacone, can I have a motion to approve Section 5, items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mrs. Eileen Blystein?
A yes to all except H, the minutes for December.
Aye.
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 Aye to everything except H, regular and executive session minutes for December 17th.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 6, routine matters. We have the enrollment report as of January 17th of 2025, the health report as of December of '24, the fire alarm report as of December of '24, the crisis drill report for December of '24, the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Thank you to members of the public for being here this evening. I start my remarks this evening on a bit of a somber note. As many in the district know, last week we lost a beloved member of our community. And every month at the beginning of the board meeting, we take pause for a moment of silence. And I know that this month when we took pause for a moment of silence, I was thinking about Helene Peters. And I would ask everybody in attendance to join me for just another brief moment of silence as we think and reflect upon this beloved member of our school community. Thank you. January, for those of you that don't know, is Board Member Appreciation Month. I am always extremely appreciative to the 9 members of the Cinnaminson Board of Education. When we have our students come in for Youth and Board Education Day, one of the first things they always ask is how much do board members get paid? And we did some calculations, and it's negative. I don't know how much money it is. They're true pillars of the community in that they volunteer their time and their efforts on behalf of the schools and the students that they care about so much. And I am indebted to our 9 board members and thank them profusely for their service to the community. While I'm giving out thank yous, another round of thank yous are due to Mr. Tyndall and his buildings and ground staff. Even on weekends when we don't worry about things like snow days, our schools still need to be cleared, our parking lots and our sidewalks, as we try to keep our schools open for community events and for our athletic events. So thank you to them for working through the night hours to make sure that all of our sidewalks and roads were passable. Along those same token, also thank you to Miss Heather Van Mater and the transportation staff. We had some volunteers come in on the holiday weekend to clear off our buses so they didn't all ice up, so that they were safe for travel this morning, and that is a big effort for our bus fleet of nearly 65 buses. I'd also like to recognize a couple of staff members, Terry Crowley and Dan Forney, who serve as our district CPR trainers. There was actually a CPR training going on earlier tonight from 4 to 6 o'clock, where some of our staff members got recertified in this very important skill of CPR, so thank you to them for leading that effort. Update out of the Rush School. I'd like to congratulate our December students of the month. They were Luke Smith, Logan Kellum, Dylan Taylor, and Ashley Raka. Congratulations to those students. One of my personal favorite events in Cinnaminson is coming up on February 5th, the annual Super Supper, coming back to this very space that we're in. We'd be amazed how quickly it can turn from a boardroom to a soup dinner. For interested folks in our senior community, they're encouraged to reach out to Ms. Melissa DiClemente, and there's information on our website so that you can RSVP. And it's always a great event, and thank you to our staff members who provide some delicious soups, salads, and bread for members of the community. And all that we ask for attendance is a couple of non-perishable items that we would then donate to the food bank. Absent from this evening, Mr. Gorman sends his regrets. He is over at the high school right now as we're hosting a FAFSA parent event with over 50 families registered, so hopefully they are finding that information informative on their path to filling out the financial aid forms for college. This is hot off the press. I'm going to apologize as I read this because it literally came in moments before the board meeting. But congratulations to our Middle School Project Challenge Future City team that won 4 awards at the competition this weekend. That's the most awards ever won by a Cinnaminson team. And they won the following awards: Constructing for the Future, the Samuel Herb Automation Excellence Award, Best Engineering-Based Project, and Excellence in Highway Engineering Design. So congratulations to Mr. Bacon and all of the students who worked very hard on that project, including, I believe, our middle school representative down there at the end. So congratulations to you. Finally, this will be the last board meeting we will have before February 3rd, which will be the official opening of our next 2 classrooms for 30 new pre-K students to join our district. We continue to grow. We're very excited about that. About an hour ago, the board took a tour of the new facilities, and they're not quite ready, but they'll be ready to go to open on February 3rd. And again, I thank Mr. Tyndall and all of the members of his team for working so hard and doing the work in-house to make sure that our students have a great space to learn in, and we're very excited about that. So be sure to check out our social media early in February as we have some pictures of the launch of our new classrooms. So thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Capello, and they are coming along nicely. Ms. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve Section 6 routine matters, items A through E?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to student representative report, Section 7. First, we have the high school student rep report from Gwen Chikonsky.
Good evening, everyone. The Golden Apple Award for December was presented to Miss Judy Rex by senior Ryan Driscoll. The December students of the month are, for the class of 2025, Lauren Brown, class of 2026, Kennedy Kozowski, class of 2027, Jake Barbitt, class of 2028, Marak Kook. December athletes of the month are class of 2026, Shiloh Moore, and class of 2025, Eddie Frey. For the boys basketball team, their record is 7-4, and their senior night is February 12th against Pemberton. For the girls basketball team, their record is 7-4, and their senior night is also February 12th against Pemberton. The boys wrestling team record is currently 8-5. Their senior night is February 14th against Morristown. They recently hosted the first ever Cinnaminson duels, which featured 8 strong programs across South Jersey. The team also hosted the 8th annual Fallen Heroes match, where we honor all military, first responders, and former wrestling alumni Troop Sean Cullen, who passed away in 2016. The girls' wrestling team is thriving this season, winning their first ever dual match against BCIT and recently defeating Rancocas Valley. For winter track, Eddie Frey placed a new school record for pole vault and had won his past 2 meets, and Kellen Kohler just missed the school record for the 800, less than 1 second away. The swim team's record is 4-3. The senior meet is January 23rd. Currently, the swim team is ranked 6th in the Central Group C for the NJSIA tournament that will take place in February. For Play Unified, the Pirates got their second win of the season by defeating Ewing High School 39-36. The girls' bowling team is currently 10-2. Sophomore Elena Miller and junior Alana Moliv have both achieved career milestones of 10,000 career pins on varsity. The boys' bowling team is currently 5-6-1. Senior Chase Long and junior Ian Jungbutt have both achieved their career milestone of 10,000 pins. For Student Council, during January's month of servants, Student Council is sponsoring CHS second annual Super Bowl of Caring. Students will bring in cans of soup to their second period teachers from January 21st to February 7th. The second period teacher that collects the most cans will win a bagel breakfast hosted by Student Council the week of February 12th. All soup will be donated to the Food Bank of South Jersey. Our goal is 1,000 cans. Work is underway with the CHS Drama Club's production of The Little Mermaid. Cast and crew have been learning their blocking, learning their music, and building the sets in anticipation of a great show season. They were happy to welcome back students for their second annual alumni showcase and look forward to the upcoming Morristown Theater Expo. They cordially invite you to come out and support of the show late this February and early March as you join them under the sea. 31 Cinnaminson DECA members attended the 2025 NJ DECA Southern District Conference competition on Tuesday, January 7th at the Doubletree Hill Hotel by Hilton in Cherry Hill. While all members gave their best performance, our chapter had 6 members qualify to compete at the 2025 NJ DECA State Career Development Conference to be held at Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City on March 4th through March 6th. Those members are Tabitha Brickley, Sarah Delgado, Buki Mustafa, Emily Renoff, Luke Ryan, and Benjamin Tinoff. Congratulations to these members on their achievement and best of luck in the next stage of their competitive journey. The National Honor Society will be hosting their annual blood drive on January 31st in the Honor Gym from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Students and community members will be able to donate. Schedules and information to sign up are posted on CHS High School's Instagram, Facebook, and X platforms. The CHS Chamber Choir performed on January 15th at the Marion for a community senior citizen dinner, which was enjoyed by all. Congratulations go out to both Kim Mason and Sam Bourbon on their acceptance into the All-Eastern Choir. They will perform their concert in Connecticut this April. Our annual Poetry Out Loud competition was held on January 10th in the auditorium during periods 8 and 9. Congratulations to Allison Yodis on winning the Poetry Out Loud competition. Allison will represent CHS at the county competition on February 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. Now we'll hear from the middle school student representative, Noah Bundy.
Happy New Year and good evening to all of you. It's been a while since I last shared. I hope everyone had a relaxing and healthy couple of months. I would first like to report our December students of the month. Our middle school students for December were 6th grader Mackenzie Manili, 7th grader Lucas Thres, and 8th grader Dean Jernigan. The faculty member of the month was Miss Jenabeth Curran, 8th grade social studies teacher. Congratulations to all. On January 10th, the CMS Counseling Department and the City Mentors hosted a winter breakfast for new students. The students had the opportunity to reflect on the start of their new school year and enjoyed playing some games. They also participated in some of icebreaker activities to learn more about their peers and our school. Winter sports have started. Update on winter sports scores are boys basketball A, 2 and 6, boys basketball B, 5 and 3. Both boys basketball teams will host Haddonfield on the 22nd. Boys B basketball will travel to Riverfront Elementary on the 23rd, and boys A basketball will travel to Harrington Middle School on the 24th. Girls basketball A, 4 and 4, girls basketball B, 5 and 3. Girls B basketball will travel to Riverfront Elementary on the 23rd, and will travel to Haddonfield Middle School on the 22nd. Girls A basketball will host Harrington Middle School on the 24th. Wrestling, 8 and 1. Wrestling will have 2 home matches this week versus Riverside Middle School on the 21st and Glen Landing on the 23rd. We have many events planned for February. CMS is hosting a super supper for Cinnaminson senior citizens on Wednesday, February 5th at 5 p.m. in the cafeteria. Guests are encouraged to bring 2 or more canned or non-perishable food items. All collected items will be donated to the local food pantry and the Food Bank of South Jersey. CMS students and staff will assist seniors in entering the cafeteria and helping them with soup selections, salad, coffee, and dessert. Our CMS Student Council is helping to organize a winter snowball dance for 6th and 7th grade students only on Friday, February 7th. Students should wear casual attire. We are also planning an after-school bowling trip for 8th grade students on Monday, February 24th. The PE department and the Student Council are teaming up for the Student vs. Staff Volley for Heart fundraiser on Thursday, February 20th. All proceeds will be donated to the American Heart Association. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you, Noah. We're going to move on now to presentations. We have a presentation tonight from the Cinnaminson School secondary music teachers.
All right, good evening, everyone. Each year, we usually have a couple of academic presentations from the different content areas in our district. Last year, we heard about the elementary literacy program. We also heard from our TV production teachers, our media arts, as they call it now. This month, we're going to hear from our secondary music team from the Cinnaminson Middle School and the high school. I'm going to introduce our director of the Performing Arts Department as well as World Languages and ESL, Mrs. Suzanne Fisher, who will introduce the team.
And board members, while she's coming up, there is going to be a visual presentation, so if anyone would like to relocate to the front or turn your chairs around, it's up to you.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting the music department and I to present. I'd like to introduce Mrs. Natasha Sigmund, Mr. Luke Buchanan, and Dr. Nick DeSalvio, who will share a little bit of news and updates about the music department in the middle school and at the high school.
Thank you. My name is Natasha Sigmund. This is my 19th year in the district. My first 14 years I was at Eleanor Rush School, and this is my 5th year at Cinnaminson Middle School. We would like to share with you how 2020 New Jersey Student Learning Standards have shaped the curriculum that we wrote and are adapting currently at the middle school. The big shift in 2020 Student Learning Standards is from appreciation to music making, to performing, creating, responding, connecting, presenting. And that has been the guiding force behind our curriculum at the middle school. In 6th grade, we begin with the singing unit. Singing is something that if you can't speak, you can sing, and if you think that that is not true, I dare you to come after school and I'll give you a singing lesson. So singing is the fundamental instrument that we all have. If you can sing it, you can play it. We start with the singing voice. We then move to movement and dance. Research shows that moving and dancing activates the same area of the brain that is responsible for higher level thinking. So we know that movement and dance is very important for higher level thinking skills, specifically in literacy. Then we combine singing and moving and dancing with storytelling and put it on stage right here in our musical theater unit. Musical theater is for everybody. It is absolutely a wonderful opportunity for students to express themselves live because mistakes become opportunities in live performances. In musical theater, you can have a lead, but without the ensemble and stage crew and scenery, it doesn't exist. So everybody, no matter what classroom and program they come from, they have a place in the musical theater unit. This one at the top is a picture of Lion King Hakuna Matata scene, and I will talk about the bottom picture in just a moment. As I mentioned, Hakuna Matata scene is one of the scenes we put together. Also, your welcome scene from Moana. The dance project is where students work in small groups and create an original dance, which is a challenge for a lot of students these days because they're not used to being in groups and negotiating their ideas and accepting each other's ideas. Stomp project is a project that, if you are familiar with Stomp, it started on the streets of London where very, very gifted musicians who did not have money used objects to create music. The Stomp combines music making with stage, and students have an opportunity to use anything they can to put together a story with introduction, rising action, climax, resolution. And finally, in 6th grade, we end with a ukulele project where students also work in groups and learn basic harmonic structures on ukulele and work together to play a song. This is a demonstration of how simple piece of long brown paper and some markers turned the stage into Moana set. In 7th grade, we move on to literacy, and literacy in music is something I'm passionate about, is when you're looking at music notation and you can hear it. So in 7th grade, we start with reading, writing, and composing and applying it to rhythm instruments. This is a picture at the top of a student playing their composition. Then we move on, as I said, we do a stump story, and then we move on to ukulele song study, where students develop more advanced skills in ukulele. And then finally, we move on to melodic music learning with recorder karate. We do not actually do karate in the classroom, but we start with a simple song, Hot Cross Buns. You probably heard it in your elementary school. And if a student can play it with proper technique, they earn a white belt, which is just a rainbow loom little piece that goes on the bottom of the recorder. And students can then progress in their own way, at their own skill level, through the different songs that get harder and harder. So this is a little example of the stump story, and after that, I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Buchanan, who will take all of these wonderful projects and apply them to a different media. One more thing I'd like to mention about specifically the rhythm unit, which does take a leap into this project, is that when we learn to process rhythm, it helps us to see patterns. And that we know that helps us to understand patterns in other disciplines, for example, math and science. So rhythm unit is also extremely important. And with that, I pass it on to Mr. Buchanan.
Good evening. My name is Luke Buchanan. I am the band director here and one of the music teachers, and this is my third year here at Cinnaminson Middle School. I'm going to share with you some information about the 8th grade music class, which is titled Music Technology. As Mrs. Sigmund introduced before, we continue building on many of the skills that we develop at the Rush School and in 6th and 7th grade music, but we take them to the next level and add a technology component in with that. So students will develop their own musical skills and technological skills through a series of projects and collaborative assignments. You can see some of the units of study that we cover in this course. We talk about how technology has shaped the musical world from 1985 all the way through to 2025. We build the similar skills of composing and arranging. We give a very basic overview of acoustics and the science of sound, and we also give a very basic look into audio editing, and audio engineering, which are some skills that students can carry on even if they decide not to be a musical artist. They can still carry these on to some other aspects of life. If a student was looking to make a podcast for a project or a YouTube video or something along those lines, they would have all the skills necessary to accomplish that. So before I show you a couple examples of some projects, I just want to give you a look. This is a website that we use called BandLab. It is a digital audio workspace similar to something like GarageBand or Logic Pro. But the great thing about BandLab, it is available on Chromebooks and it is entirely web-based, so students can accomplish this work in class as well as at home on their free time. Each of these little blocks that you see here are different pieces of recorded audio that students either found in BandLab or recorded themselves and arranged them into their own unique songs. Like I said, some of the main skills that we emphasize in this class are computer literacy and audio recording and editing. And just a few examples for you all. This is a project that we do where Mr. Spear, who runs the Pirate TV class, sends me the introduction to our Pirate TV news show, and our students go and create their own original songs to go along with it. So this was a student from this semester. Again, we get the video just blank of audio, and they create everything themselves. I have one more example to show you. This is from probably my favorite project that we do throughout the semester. Students were given the option of 3 different silent movie clips that I found online, and they were able to create all the sound effects themselves. This student decided to not put any music at all, just sound effects, but every sound that you hear in this video, she created on her own, minus one crowd laughing sound that you hear at the end that she found online. All right, and with that, I will pass it over to Dr. DeSalvio from the high school. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Again, my name is Nick DeSalvio. I'm the band director at the high school. I've been at the high school for the past 3 years. Before then, I was the band director and music teacher here at the middle school for 4 years, so 7 years in total in the district. And again, just being able to work collaboratively with the middle school team on a lot of these things that they've already talked about has been huge as far as a lot of our ability to continue this stuff at the high school. Just speaking specifically on this 8th grade technology class, this directly ties into the audio engineering and production program class that we have at the high school, where we take exactly what Mr. Buchanan was talking about with this band lab, this digital audio workstation, and then we use those same skills and we apply them to our Apple lab at the high school using GarageBand, and we start to dig in on more of these concepts that they start at the middle school. Excuse me. On the same end of the coin, like Ms. Sigmund had mentioned, we also, taking some of those skills that they learn in their ukulele here, we have our guitar program at the high school that's now in its 3rd year. This is now our 2nd year of our advanced guitar program, where we have students who elect to push themselves a little further and dig a little harder on their skills, can come down and learn more on performing on guitar. We found this has a huge impact on the amount of people who find themselves in the music department wing. I've come into contact with people who get down there by their 12th grade year and they go, I've never been down this hallway. And that's not a sentence we like to hear. So all of these programs, we just are trying to get as many students involved in music as possible, whether it be through our choral or band programs, or else through digital music or our guitar programs, our strings programs. As far as happenings at the high school, we do have a lot of exciting stuff that's happening and coming up. First of all, just an update on our indoor drumline and color guard. We're going to our 2nd year of this program. This last year was our flagship year for our indoor color guard and drumline. They had a really successful first season. The drumline has been promoted this coming indoor season to compete in the Scholastic Regional Competitive class. In fact, I was informed today by our drum instructor that our drumline has gone 462 days undefeated. So he was very excited about that. So we are excited to welcome back our returning staff members for indoor drumline, Dr. Doug Ferraro, Amanda Beard, and Adam Solomon. And we're also welcoming a new indoor color guard instructor this year, Reagan Sobel. So very excited about going into our 2nd year of our indoor program, and not only its recruitment possibilities, but its training purposes for going into our outdoor season next fall. We do have our district band day coming up. This is something that we've had every year I've been here. I know it has taken place long before I got here as well. We have every year in February both a district band day and a district choir day. These are usually right before the middle school begins its course selections. This is so that we can give the middle school, specifically the middle school students, kind of a peek at what curricular and extracurricular activities and offerings we have as far as music go at the high school. So, students will come out, middle school band students on the 4th, and the next week choir students, but the band kids will come up and they'll make some music for the day with the high school band students. It's awesome for me as an educator as well, just having been at the middle school and having seen many of these students come up every year, both as middle school students coming to band day as well as high school students helping middle school students on band day. They get to experience both aspects of it in kind of a full circle moment for a lot of them. We also have a new way of doing our spring programming for our concerts this year. We're going to continue to have our district-wide band concert. We like the collaborative spirit of that. We like having, especially our Eleanor Rush kids, be able to see what's coming at the middle school, and then for those middle school kids to see what's coming at the high school, and for all of us to get together in our wonderful performance space together. But we're also going to have a high school band concert the week before. That's going to showcase high school students more deeply, have a couple more pieces. I believe we're having a middle school band concert here as well. So we're going to have building-wide concerts that we can have more concise and allow for more opportunities for other ensembles to perform. Finally, just to wrap things up, as was mentioned by our high school representative, we do have our spring musical, The Little Mermaid, coming up. I'm excited to continue the collaboration that we've always had in the music department with the theater department and provide live music for this. Many places, especially in high schools, and high schools our size around our area, you're finding more and more often they have pre-recorded music and tracks that they're having along with the performers. I think not only is it great for everyone in a live studio or a live music performance to hear live musicians, but it's also a much more educational experience for our stage performers to perform with live musicians, as well as giving our students the opportunity to perform this music in the band program and the strings program. As I mentioned to my students when they signed up, these are not high school arrangements of the pieces. These are the actual pieces that these musicians will take on Broadway with them. So when they sign up for pit orchestra, they know they have a lot of work to do to rise to the occasion, and so it's a great opportunity we have here at Cinnaminson. So that's all we have for the high school. I appreciate your time.
Just to summarize, I really think you'd be hard for us to find such a cohesive music program as the one that we have in Cinnaminson. The teachers next to me and the teachers in the entire music department in the district work really hard to collaborate with each other to make sure that we have a true K-12 music program where we have students singing their first pitch in kindergarten to engineering and producing music and playing Broadway music in our pit orchestra with Dr. D. We have so many electives and courses and after-school activities to help our student musicians to grow and, like my colleagues mentioned, to reach those students who maybe never knew they were musicians until they stepped into one of our classes. And we're grateful to work in such a supportive district where hundreds and hundreds of students are experiencing and creating music every day. Are there any questions from the board? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Great job.
I just wish that I had that kind of program when I was in school.
Right.
Who knows where I would be right now?
Thank you all.
We're going to hear a presentation from our auditor, Mr. Robert Inverso.
Sorry you have to follow that, Rob.
Yeah, it's a hard act to follow. Okay, thank you. I'd like to go over the financial summary, where we stand as of June 30th, 2024. Hopefully, everybody has in front of them the annual financial summary. If I could direct your attention to the left-hand column. We took in this year tax levy $36,220,000, tuition $575,000, transportation aid $1,784,000, miscellaneous revenue $423,000, federal aid $46,000, State aid, $20,768,000. Total revenue, $59,818,162. We expended in the same period $57,794,781, giving us a gain in operations of $2,023,381. We started the year with a fund balance of $19,091,234. We're ending with a fund balance of $21,114,615. That amount is defined right below. What makes it up? Reserve for encumbrances. These are orders that were placed that were not, they'll be fulfilled in the next period, $543,000. Capital reserve, $5,315,000. Maintenance reserve, $2,552,000. Excess surplus, $5,099,035. That's the amount that must be placed in the 25-26 budget. Designated for this year, next year's expenditures, $4,870,629. That's the amount that was placed in the 24-25 budget. Unemployment compensation, $494,254, and unreserved and undesignated, $2,239,643, totaling $21,114,615. The amount of the surplus calculation is defined below. How do you come up with that number, that $2,239,000? It's your expenditures, $57,794,781 times 2% gives you $1,155,000, and extraordinary aid and non-public transportation aid of extraordinary aid of $1,046,437, and non-public transportation aid of $37,310. Totaling the $2,235,643. As far as budget to actual this year, we had a budget of $64,231,676. We expended $58,338,110, or close to 91%. That's the way we're returning money. The way we return money is not on the revenue side, it's really on the appropriation side. And all school districts are the same. 95% of your money is district tax and state aid, which you receive 100% of. So the way you return money is by watching what you spend. And that's how we're able to generate this surplus each year. Are there any questions on the financials? Hearing none, I'd just like to say otherwise. The business office records were in very good condition. There's no comments and recommendations. They did a good job.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Mrs. Wilkie. Section 9 is correspondence to the board. Does anyone have anything that they need to share? Okay, moving on to Section 10, committee reports. We did not have committee meetings this month as we just formed the committees for this year. And so we're moving on to Section 11, public comment. Members of the public are reminded that comments should be limited to items appearing on the meeting's agenda. There will be another opportunity during this meeting to comment on non-agenda items. All members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items only should raise their hand to indicate their wish to speak. When called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person, and the comment period will be limited to 30 minutes in duration. Have anyone who wants to make a public comment on agenda items? Okay, then we're going to move on to Section 12, Personnel, Certified, Non-Certified. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. I'm under Section 12, Personnel, under Letter A, Appointments and Reappointments, seeking the board to approve the following items number 1 and 2, and those are listed in the agenda. Under Letter B, Transfers, there are 2 listed under B1 in the agenda, seeking the board's approval for that. Resignations and retirements, there are 3 items listed in the agenda under Letter C and seeking the board's approval of them. Under Letter D, Leaves of Absences, there are also 3 of those, and they are listed by employee number in the agenda. Moving up to letter F, seeking the board's approval on the following advancements on the salary guide. Those names are listed under number 1 in the agenda. Under letter G, extra duty appointments, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 4, and they are listed for approval in the agenda. Under letter H, mentor teachers, seeking the board to approve item number 1 that is listed under H1 in the agenda. Student teachers, there is 1 student teacher, seeking the board's approval for that gentleman for this evening's board meeting approval. Under letter J, seeking the board's approval for item number 1, letters A through H, and those names are listed in the agenda. And finally, under letter K, seeking the board's approval for items 1 and 2 that are listed in the agenda. That is personnel. Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Ms. Kate Blystein, can I have a motion to approve Section 12, certified, non-certified, items A through K?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board?
I have a question. I'm sorry. A question for appointments and reappointments number 2. Just for transparency's sake, there's a Transportation Department consultant that is being paid per diem at a rate of $600 a day. I was just curious, if, just for transparency, do we have a head of transportation, and why do we need a consultant at that cost? And
Yeah.
how long is the consultant there, and how often do we use that consultant?
Yeah, we are expecting a very rare need, and I appreciate the question. So as you are probably aware, Ms. Tomquist served as the head of that department for a number of years. When she retired some time ago, there was a little bit of transitional difficulties in the department, and without saying anything more to those specifics, this is an effort to keep her expertise available to our district should we need it, and anticipating very limited need for that individual to serve in that capacity, but it is to assist with the transition of the longtime department head in that department. So we're fortunate to be able to retain her services for that.
And is there a period of time that we keep that consultant, or just until we're up and ready?
So this approval would be in place through the end of the year to be called
Okay.
on an as-needed basis.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mrs. Falconero?
Aye.
I, except I'm going to abstain from letter F.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 12, curriculum, I'm sorry, Section 13, curriculum and instruction. Dr. Goldberg.
Thank you very much. Under 13, letter A, requesting approval of the professional development requests that are attached. Under letter B, the field trip requests that are attached. Nothing under letter C this month. Under letter D, curriculum, approving the 25-26 course offerings for Cinnaminson High School. Under letter E, the monthly HIB report. Letter F, the monthly suspension report. And under letter G, adjustment to the school calendar for this school year, which will, as a result of the January 6th snow day, make Friday, May 23rd, a student day now. It was originally scheduled as a professional development day. And the governor also recently changed primary election day from Tuesday, June 3rd to Tuesday, June 10th. That was originally scheduled to be a professional development day, so now Tuesday, June 10th will be a professional development day for our staff. And those are the requests this month, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Dr. Goldberg. Mr. Meeker, can I have a motion to approve Section 13, curriculum and instruction, items A through G?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Kate Blystein? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Eileen Blystein? Looking that way.
I vote yes for all, or aye for all. B, I vote no, specifically on field trip number 7, the wine cellar trip.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 14, special education. Mrs. Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under letter A, contracts, number 1, seeking the board to approve an agreement with First Children's Services Regional Enrichment and Learning Center to provide home instruction for a student in their transition program from January 8th till the end of the school year at a rate of $215 per day. And number 2, seeking the board to approve an agreement with First Children's Services to provide home instruction from January 10th to June 30th at $70 per hour for a student for home instruction and $10 per day per teacher travel. And letter B, student placements. seeking the board to approve the contract agreement with Bancroft School for one student from December 11th till June 30th. And letter C, consultant agreement, there are none. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Llewellyn. Ms. Falconero, can I have a motion to approve Section 14 Special Ed items A and B?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mrs. Eileen Blystein?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. There are no policies and regulations this month, so moving on to Section 16, Business and Finance. Mrs. Wilkie?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section A, there are no grants this evening. Under Section B, Finance, number 1, that the board approves the annual comprehensive financial report and the auditor's management report for the fiscal year ending in June 30th, 2024, with no recommendations. Item number 2, that the board approves the mileage reimbursement request for the staff members as attached. Items number 3, donations. Item 3A is that the board accepts with appreciation the donation of 2 3D printers from Mr. Fred Kampf to the middle school 6th grade science program. That the board accepts with appreciation the donation of $1,000 from CHASA to the middle school for staff recognition, prizes, and events. And item 3C, that the board accepts with appreciation the donation of $824 from Jersey Mike's of Cinnaminson to the Rush Intermediate School. Section C, operations, that the board approves a construction proposal with W.J. Gross as attached for the ramp repair at the high school, and the district will be reimbursed through insurance less any deductibles. Item D, contracts. Item number 1, that the board approves a contract for bond counsel services with Wilentz, Goldman, and Spitzer for the time period of January 22nd, 2025 through June 30th, 2025 as attached. Item number 2, that the board approves a settlement agreement between the Cinnaminson Township Board of Education and Meta Platforms as attached. And item number 3, that the board approves the contracts with Rico Copiers as attached. Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilkie. Ms. Eileen Blystein, can I have a motion to approve Section 16, Business and Finance, items A through D?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. We have no other business tonight, so we'll move on to Section 18, Public Comments. During the public comments section of the meeting, the board will seek public comment on any item. Members of the public are reminded that if they wish to speak, when called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. And in accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. The comment period will not exceed 30 minutes. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment tonight?
Brittany Rolvis, Cinnaminson. So I apologize to the new board members. I didn't get dressed up for y'all tonight. I got my pajamas on, so wasn't planning on coming here, but here I am. So I wasn't going to speak either, but I just had, I guess, some concerns with the transportation situation. That's a lot of money. I mean, I knew they have a lot to do. I know, Mr. Capello, I was going back and forth with you in November with some concerns of a bus that cuts through the street. You had mentioned that we're working towards budgeting for GPSs on the buses. So I'm just wondering where we stand with that, because I think, again, safety concerns, it's important. You can't argue with a GPS, and I think in 2025, we're not talking $1 million here. So I really think it's necessary and appropriate. I've given up calling transportation. But when they end up hitting a child or anyone, it's going to be an issue. So again, I'm asking, where are we at with budgeting for the GPSs for the buses? Thank you and welcome, y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Rebels, and I will certainly follow up with you with the answer to that question, but just so you know, it is, as I said before, it is a priority in the Transportation Department to put that in our budget for next year. It is our intention to put it in the budget for next year. A lot has to happen between now and then for that budget to get finalized, and I can't make any promises on behalf of this board as to what makes the budget, but it's been on our radar for a number of years. We do have 65-ish buses that we needed in. Now, there's some costs associated with it, but we have the technology on the back end to support it now. We switched transportation software last year. Well, this was our first official year using it, and that was an integral part of being able to have a platform that integrates the GPS into our back-end software. So I'm happy to follow up with that conversation with you after the meeting if you want to hang around for a minute, but it is a priority, and it is a great idea.
Anyone else? Okay. Comments from the board, Mr. Kenny?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. First off, the board would like to pass along our condolences to the family of Mrs. Helene Peters, who passed away last week. Mrs. Peters was a beloved member of the Rush School community for 16 years, and she will be greatly missed. Congratulations are in order to the Middle School Project Challenge students and the high school DECA students, as well as to high school student Allison Yotis for winning the Poetry Out Loud competition. And great job to Mrs. Wilkie and the business office on the 2024 audit. We appreciate your hard work. Thank you to our dedicated music teachers for a wonderfully informative presentation regarding the amazing programs they provide to our students across the district. Thank you to Gwen and Noah for the reports as always. It is always a pleasure to hear your updates. Thank you for the donations. Thank you to Mr. Tyndall and Mr. Zemecki and their crews for getting the preschool classrooms ready, as well as for keeping our parking lots clear from the recent snow and ice. And a thank you to Dr. Lori Banlow from the New Jersey School Boards Association for her board members' ethics training tonight. Her presentation was very informative. And thank you to the public for coming out to voice your concerns to the board. We appreciate you taking time to bring them to our attention. The next regularly scheduled meeting is on February 18th at 7 p.m. right here in the middle school cafetorium. More information can be found on the district website. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank Ms. Trompe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Have a great